Is the prancing horse galloping into a trap, or have they just pulled a blinder right under our noses?
Welcome back to the Paddock Vault, where today we're cracking the code on Ferrari's secret weapon spotted in the Barcelona rain.
It is a fascinating start to the new era, isn't it? The 2026 regulations have finally hit the tarmac and, well, the gamesmanship has already begun.
Oh, absolutely. Before we get the tires up to temperature, pit in for a subscribe and give us the green light by hitting that like button. It helps the channel faster than a fresh set of softs. Now, tell me in the comments, do you trust Ferrari's reliability or is it another false dawn?
That really is the billion-dollar question hovering over Maranello right now, you know?
It is. Right, let's set the scene for everyone tuning in. It is Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. We are knee-deep in the Barcelona shakedown. The weather's been absolutely miserable, rain playing havoc with the run plans.
Which, honestly, is sometimes when you learn the most.
Exactly. When teams are scrambling, the mask slips a bit, doesn't it? It does. And we have to stress the sheer scale of what we're watching. I think some people treat this like a standard yearly update, like moving from the 24 car to the 25. It just isn't. This is a total reset.
A completely new sport, almost?
It is. We've got the new power units with that massive hike in electrification. We have active aerodynamics for the first time, and the cars are physically smaller and, thankfully, lighter.
Everyone is starting from zero. And if you just glanced at the headlines from day 3, you'd think the hierarchy hadn't changed a bit. The silver arrows looked, well, they looked imperious on Wednesday.
They were ominous, weren't they?
Mhm.
There's a proper show of force from Brackley. You look at the timesheets, and there's Kimi Antonelli, the young phenom, clocking a 1.17.362.
Straight out of the box.
Straight out of the box, fastest of the day.
Blimey, that lad. I mean, the pressure on his shoulders replacing a legend, and he just steps up to the W17 and delivers. And George Russell was only 2/10 behind him.
Which tells you something important.
It suggests the car is compliant. You don't go that fast that early if the car is a beast to drive.
Precisely. If a rookie can push it immediately, the correlation between the sim and the track is working. That's the holy grail in modern F1, and look at the gap. Mercedes were the only ones dipping into the 1.17s.
Right, and you had Lando in the new McLaren, the MCL40, putting in a solid shift, 76 laps.
Solid, yes. But the raw, uncorked pace, that seems to reside in the Mercedes garage right now.
So on the surface, Mercedes is the safe bet. Fast, reliable, no drama. But here is where we need to put our detective hats on. Because while everyone was watching the timing screens on Wednesday, the real story happened on Tuesday, day 2.
Ferrari's dedicated showing day. And a miserable day for it, too. It was a washout.
Heavy rain, mixed conditions. Usually engineers absolutely despise that for a shakedown. You can't validate your dry aero maps. You can't push the tires. It's usually a write-off.
A write-off where you just check if the leaks are plugged.
But Ferrari didn't treat it like one. They didn't hide in the garage sipping espresso. The SF26, shared between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, racked up 121 laps.
That's nearly 560 kilometers in
Yeah.
those conditions.
Exactly. And that mileage is the headline for me. Forget the lap times. The crucial takeaway from the Ferrari camp, specifically from their engineer Matteo Toninelli, was just 3 words. No major reliability issues.
Now, that sounds boring, I know. But when you're running a brand new power unit architecture and complex active aero systems in the pouring rain,
It's a massive victory.
it's a huge victory. Just finishing the day without the car catching fire or shutting down is a win.
It's the duck paddling underwater scenario. Looks calm on the surface, but the legs are going like mad. But we need to look under the bonnet, or rather at the wings, because while Mercedes was chasing lap times, Ferrari was doing something very specific in the wet.
Ah, yes, you're referring to the active aerodynamics observations. This is where the regulations get spicy.
Spot on. This is the big aha moment of the test for me. We know the 2026 rules introduced straight mode for low drag, basically opening the wings to go fast, and corner mode for high downforce. It's supposed to be binary, on or off.
But Ferrari were spotted doing something different. They were testing a partial mode.
And this partial mode is a brilliant bit of lateral thinking. It's essentially a loophole or maybe a specific allowance for wet conditions.
Think about the physics for a moment. In the rain, you still want speed on the straights, so you naturally want to reduce drag to go faster.
Right. Less drag, more speed. Simple.
But if you dump all your downforce by opening both the front and rear wings, which is the standard straight mode, you create a nightmare scenario. You lose rear grip.
And in the wet, at 300 kph, that's not a car anymore, it's a toboggan.
You're a passenger. You'd spin the moment you breathed on the steering wheel. or hydroplane into the barriers.
So what do?
They split the difference. The spies observed them opening the front wing, collapsing those flaps to reduce drag at the nose, but keeping the rear wing firmly closed.
So it's still loaded with downforce at the back.
Exactly.
That is clever. It's like a mullet party at the front, business at the back. You get the slipstream effect from the front, but the rear tires are still planted.
That's a colorful way to put it, but yes. It keeps the aerodynamic balance rearward, stabilizing the car. But here's the detail that really highlights the sophistication here. The observers noticed a timing anomaly.
Oh, I love this bit. This is proper Paddock vault stuff. Don't leave us hanging.
Well, usually you'd want your active aero to trigger simultaneously to maintain a level platform. But the frame-by-frame analysis suggests Ferrari's activation sequence is staggered. They were seen activating the rear wing mechanisms slightly before the front.
Before? Why on earth would they do that? Surely you want them synced.
Not in the rain. It's a stability safety net. If Ferrari dumps the front downforce before the rear is fully engaged, the center of pressure shoots forward instantly. In low grip, that snaps the car into a spin.
I see.
By timing it so the rear is always the dominant stabilizing force engaging it first, they ensure the driver doesn't lose the back end the moment they hit the button.
That is the kind of detail that wins championships. It's not just about having the tech, it's about the control logic behind it. It suggests they've really thought about the drivability.
It implies a confidence in their systems. While everyone else is just trying to get the flaps to open, Ferrari is fine-tuning the millisecond timing of how they open.
However, and there is always a massive however with Ferrari, isn't there? While the aero looks clever, there are some worrying whispers coming out of Maranello about the engine.
Yes, this is the dark cloud hanging over the test. While the car ran fine, the long-term concerns are about the power unit's manufacturing.
This is the steel versus aluminum saga, isn't it?
Correct.
Oh.
Ferrari's engineer, Wolf Zimmermann, initially pushed for a very aggressive solution. A steel cylinder head manufactured using 3D printing. Additive manufacturing.
3D printing a cylinder head sounds incredibly high-tech. Why steel? Isn't that heavy?
It is heavier, but it's stronger. The idea was to create incredibly complex internal cooling channels that you just can't cast with molten metal. If you can cool the engine better, you can shrink the radiators.
And if you shrink the radiators, you improve the side pod aerodynamics.
Exactly. It was a holistic gamble. The engine design was supposed to unlock aerodynamic performance.
But, I'm sensing a but. It didn't work, did it?
Apparently not. The reports indicate the steel-printed parts failed reliability targets. They likely suffered from fatigue or porosity-tiny air bubbles in the print under the extreme pressure of an F1 combustion cycle.
So they had to scramble.
They've had to revert to a more traditional aluminum alloy cylinder head.
That sounds like a massive setback. If you design your whole car, your side pods, your cooling ducts around this magic compact engine and then have to switch back, that's going to compromise the aero, surely.
It compromises everything. It's a domino effect. The aluminum head is likely larger or needs more cooling. That adds weight, changes the center of gravity, and crucially, it costs time.
That's the killer, isn't it? The time. You can't buy time in Formula One.
You cannot. And let's not forget the Army factor. Mercedes has a legion of customer teams. Williams, McLaren, Alpine, all feeding data back on their power unit. Ferrari only has Haas and the newcomers, Cadillac.
That data deficit is real. If Mercedes has 4 teams running their engine, they learn 4 times faster. Every lap a Williams does, Brackley learns something.
Exactly. Ferrari is isolated. They have to solve their own problems. Mercedes can crowdsource the solution in a way.
Speaking of problems, we have to talk about Red Bull. Talk about a rough start. They've gone from dominant to, well, parked in a wall.
It was a difficult Tuesday for them, to put it mildly. We have to remember, this is Red Bull's first ever outing as a full engine manufacturer, the Red Bull Ford Powertrains unit.
A huge undertaking. And on day 2, they had the reserve driver, Isaac Hadjar, in the car. Max was fastest earlier in the day, which shows the pace is there, but then, bang.
Yes, Hadjar had a significant off in the wet. Crashed the RB22.
Smashed the rear wing off from what I heard.
It looked like a loss of control in the tricky conditions. For a team effectively functioning as a new engine manufacturer, losing that track time is just painful.
Right.
You need every single second of data.
It really contrasts the narratives, doesn't it? Ferrari has the engine scare back at the factory, but the car ran reliably on track. Red Bull has the pace, but they look fragile.
And meanwhile, Mercedes is just pounding around, putting in lap after lap, looking bulletproof. It does make the Silver Arrows look like the safe bet right now.
Okay, let's shift gears and look at the chassis itself. Because it's not just the wings moving about. The suspension philosophy has completely flipped for some teams.
This is one of the biggest technical shifts. Ferrari has moved to a pushrod suspension layout at both the front and the rear.
Right. For the non-engineers listening, explain that to me like I'm 5. Why does that matter?
Okay, so imagine your suspension parts, the rockers and dampers, are furniture in a room. With the old pull rod system, the furniture was down on the floor. With pushrod, you move all that internal clutter higher up.
So we've moved the sofa to the ceiling. Why?
To clean the floor, the 2026 rules make the floor of the car incredibly powerful. By moving the suspension cuts up high, you clear a massive path for air to rush into the floor and the side pods.
You want that air as clean as possible.
As clean and energized as possible. Red Bull and Mercedes have gone this way too, but not everyone.
Alpine. They stuck with a front pull rod suspension on the A526.
They did, and it is a divergent path. Pull rod keeps the weight lower, which is good for your center of gravity, but it might block that crucial airflow. Alpine is betting that mechanical handling is more important than pure downforce. It's a gamble.
Speaking of airflow, I want to talk about mouse holes. We've seen these on both the Ferrari and the Mercedes. It sounds like something from a cartoon.
It is a blast from the past, actually. The 2026 rules have banned the beam wing, which was a powerful tool for connecting the floor airflow to the rear wing airflow.
So the mouse holes are the replacement.
In a way, they are visible holes in the lower bodywork near the diffuser. The goal is to inject high-energy air into the diffuser to stop the flow from stalling. Think of it like blowing on the embers of a fire to keep it hot.
If you stop blowing, the fire dies. If the air stalls, the downforce dies.
Exactly. You lose a massive chunk of grip instantly. These mouse holes inject a jet of air to keep everything attached and working hard.
And there's one more detail on the Ferrari that stood out to me. The floorboards. We used to have barge boards. Now we have these. What's Ferrari doing there?
The regulations require these boards to curve inwards for weight control, but Ferrari has added a unique tower structure with struts to support them. It looks remarkably stiff compared to the others.
Why do you want it stiff?
Precision. If that board flutters or bends too much, it sends dirty air into your floor. Ferrari seems to be saying, we want this air to go exactly here and nowhere else. Their nose is also lower than Mercedes's, which means they are feeding air into that floor area very differently.
So they aren't just copying, they are innovating.
Absolutely. The lower nose, the floorboards, the partial active aero. Ferrari has brought a very aggressive, very thought-out car to Barcelona.
Which brings us back to the big picture then. What's the verdict?
It's a mixed bag for Maranello. On one hand, the chassis innovation is impressive. The partial active aero shows they're thinking outside the box. The suspension changes are right on the money.
But on the other hand,
That engine, the rollback from the steel cylinder head to aluminum, is a huge red flag. If they are spending months redesigning the core of their engine while Mercedes is fine-tuning, that is a deficit that could last all season.
it feels like a classic Ferrari winter, doesn't it? Brilliance mixed with a bit of panic.
And with Red Bull stumbling, the door is wide open. But Ferrari has to walk through it without tripping over their own shoelaces.
So here's the question that will define the season. Is Ferrari's partial mode a stroke of genius that will master the wet, or is that aluminum engine block an anchor that will drag them down on the straights? I want to see your theories in the comments below.
I will be watching those comments closely. That battle between aero innovation and mechanical reliability is going to be the story of 2026.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to join the community here at the Paddock Vault for more tech analysis they won't show you on TV. Cheers, mates!